Okay everybody, it's after the shoot, and I've just done my review of Led Zeppelin's very first album, and I'm sure you've gotten a chance to take a look at that by now. And this is quite literally about 5 to 10 minutes after I filmed that video. As you can see, I've got my YouTube studio up on my screen behind me, and I just want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of our viewers, and especially so our many new subscribers. We are at 288 subscribers. I can't believe it. So a big thank you, and if you haven't had a chance to subscribe, remember, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is hit that subscribe to the tribe button and then hit that top bell notification, and of course you'll be notified of all future videos. But the reason that I am shooting this addendum video is I have a very basic question to ask you. Now, you all know what I think of Robert Plant as a singer, and of course you know I hold in high esteem the vocal capabilities of both John Lennon and Paul McCartney as two of rock and roll's premier vocalists. But have you ever come across a singer who's very popular in general, has many hits, and yet you just can't stand their voice? Now, according to everybody else, all your friends, this is one of the world's greatest singers. They've got half a dozen hits at least. But when you hear that person's voice, either hers or his voice, you run for cover. Now, rock and roll is full of singers who were barely singers, but because of what they wrote, people in general accepted them as artists. Bob Dylan comes to mind. In my opinion, so does Neil Young. Now, don't get me wrong, I think Neil Young is a wonderful singer. But when I first heard him, he was a bit uncomfortable for me to get used to. Once I knew his message, I couldn't imagine anybody else singing his songs. Okay, so in order to get the ball rolling, I'm going to give you two examples here. First of all, I'm going to give you an example of a singer that is very popular and a singer that I like that my wife doesn't. When I hear one of rock and blues' preeminent vocalists, she hears 5 nails, maybe 10, scraping across the blackboard. Now, of course, the vocalist I'm talking about is Rod Stewart. Now, when I think about why my wife doesn't like this vocalist, I can hear her point of view, but I'm also aware that she became aware of this singer with his 80s hits for the most part. A couple of his 70s hits with the Small Faces were okay, according to her. And indeed, if all we had were Rod Stewart's 80s hits, Do You Think I'm Sexy, I'd probably agree with her. But my wife and I are a few years separated, enough years that I was introduced to Rod Stewart at a time that he was still singing with the Jeff Beck Group. When I listen to Rod Stewart, I hear one of the very best blues singers I've ever heard, right up there with Bob Tench. Now, his vocal capabilities don't make up for Do You Think I'm Sexy, but I hear a very good singer. And so for me, it's from an earlier incarnation of the so-called Rod Stewart sound that I grew to appreciate his voice. Okay, so it's my turn, and I know I'm going to get tons of disagreement on this singer. First of all, most people consider this man to be one of the greatest singers in rock and roll. They usually bring out his incredible vocal range, ranging from a low baritone all the way up to high tenor, even to the point of a soprano. Well, frankly, I don't care. If I want to hear a male singing soprano, I'll just listen to Queen's Drummer, if you don't mind. Now, not only can I not stand this singer's voice, but I hold a grudge against him even further. You see, he's backed by one of the very best guitarists in rock and roll, and I would really love to hear this guitarist more often, but I just can't seem to get past the singing of Axl Rose. Where others hear this amazing range, I hear a singer who cannot decide what register he wants to sing in within what part of what song. And if I hear one more from this man, I swear to God, I'm gonna pull out what's left of my hair. My God, where do people think this guy can sing? I would love to hear Slash play his guitar, but there's this guy in the way, and I just can't get past him. Okay, I've got my composure back. Now, I know Guns N' Roses is considered one of the best rock bands out there, and they have so many fans that think they're the greatest rock band. I hear a lot of talent with this band. It's just Axl that I can't get past. Now, I don't know why I feel this way. Maybe I came across Axl much in the way that my wife came across Rod Stewart's music. Maybe I heard him in the wrong setting. Maybe I was just in a horrible mood and somebody going "ay, ay, ay" sounded like nagging to me. I don't know. But I'm not going to change my mind. I don't like the man singing, and there it is. So in the end, he sounds more like a fly around my ear that just won't go away. Anyway, I expect a lot of comments correcting me, and that's okay. Everybody's got their own opinion. And guess what? I personally know people who can't stand the sound of Robert Plant's voice, and they'll say the same thing pretty much about Robert Plant that I have just said about Axl Rose. All right, so I've had a little bit of fun with this, but that's just my opinion, and like a good sphincter, everybody has one. They can't get me for sphincter, can they?
No.
All right, I just wanted to get this quick video out with that idea. Are there singers out there you just don't care for? And are there singers that you like that everybody else doesn't? All right, so that about wraps it up. We'll see you in the next video. Michael Noland here, The Bottom Line.